Yo, what is going on, Cover Room crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody is good. Hopefully y'all stamped your ticket to those fantasy football playoffs. I know we still got one game in the balance, but this week's schedule is crazy with Christmas coming. Allow me to be the first to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy the time with your families. Absolutely love it. We're talking must-have players, week number 17, championship, waiver wire, not much left. I mean, we're only looking at who could help us bring a trophy home, hoist those trophies. Unbelievable week it is. I still ride with Joe. I got 3 finals incoming, and 1 is still in the balance right now. I need Josh Jacobs to have a big day, man. This is fantasy football. Things happen all the time, but let's start with those running backs. Tyjae Spears. This was one of the problems that I was talking about last week on Start Sit with a Tony Pollard. I got foiled by Pollard as well. Should have played a Tyjae Spears. It was one of those situations. It would have been better if they would have ruled out a Tony Pollard and let us play Spears. Unbelievable situation. He got 20 points. Pollard basically watching from the bench with his 7. So it did suck. And I do foresee this continuing down for the rest of the season, especially going into the fantasy finals. If you got room, if Spears still there, 55% owned, he is still going to have a very sizable role, it appears, as they continue to, play for the offseason. They go up against these Jacksonville Jaguars this week, so a very nice matchup for these Titans running backs. If Pollard does play again, I think we can roll the dice at this point. They're going to give Spears enough volume to carry us to the promised land. You got to hope, man. 20 points back-to-back weeks. He had very good contests, so we'll see how it does go. Tyjae Spears, definitely the number 1 priority running back this week. Amir Abdullah, man, this guy they give him touches. He makes plays. I played Abdullah in a couple games or a couple leagues, and he got me to the finals as well with his point totals. Very good. 30% owned. They're taking on the Saints this week in week 17. Like I said, I know there still is Monday Night Football tonight, but we will deal with that later. I'll drop in the comments if there's anybody relevant coming from that game as well. But Amir Abdullah definitely, I mean, even with a Matty back, there is enough to go around to this man, especially in late game situations where they utilize him in the PPR upside. So there is very good potential for an Amir Abdullah in the flex. If you have a running back issue or a wide receiver issue, you're looking for a flex play, Amir Abdullah definitely is answering that bell. Gus Edwards, Gus the Bus. I'm not overly, keen on grabbing a Gus for the finals, but, I mean, he did well last week. They're taking on the New England Patriots, who do give up a lot of yards to the run game. We saw what James Cook was able to do versus them last week. So Gus is good. At least we know there is TD upside for Gus the Bus. 53% owned, 62 points. So it's not terrible, but it's not great. And, I mean, you're definitely going to be getting the 3.5 yards per carry. You're just hoping that he does break one or he does get in the goal line like he did last week as well. Gus the Bus definitely on the board. Michael Carter, Trey Benson, I'm going to sit here and say right now only because I could make the case for Trey Benson being the number 1 waiver running back priority this week as well, but he was also dealing with an ankle injury, so he's not fully healthy, and Michael Carter would slot in the secondary role or the first role if a Benson can't go. So there is still issues here, and who do you pick? So the safer options right now are the Spears and Abdullah. Then it would be a Benson, then Carter, in my opinion, but the only reason I got him here later on my list is because Benson is dealing with that ankle injury, because we saw James Conner go down with a knee. They have been eliminated from the playoffs, so I don't foresee James Conner coming back unless he magically just wants to play football here in the last 2 weeks of the NFL season. So big problems for all y'all that got James Conner going into the finals. Have to get a running back to replace this man. Man, right now it's very difficult. We will be watching those injury reports. Hopefully we get some news on what's going down with a Benson, with a Connor and Carter, etc. So, I mean, definitely going to be here. That's why I got Carter right now above a Benson because of the injury. But Carter, definitely, they're taking on these Raiders in a big contest to play spoiler for those Rams, Los Angeles Rams. So we'll see how it does go. But there are 2 options there for you as well. And Kendre Miller, he's going to be taking on the Las Vegas Raiders next week. So a very good matchup for him next week. We'll see what he does tonight on Monday Night Football. He's 53% owned at this point as well. I'm telling y'all, man, it's tough to find a good replacement, but at least the running backs, there are some options, viable options that we can choose from. Quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford. I mean, you guys are playing streaming quarterbacks. It's very difficult right now. Stafford did not play great last week as well, but he does have the Arizona Cardinals on Saturday, which is going to be a good contest for him. I gotta believe he loves playing in dome places. So I'm telling y'all, man, he's going to absolutely have a much better contest than he had these past 2 weeks. Stafford, 53% owned. He will bounce back. Just like Cooper Kupp, he hasn't been playing very well. Playing in cold weather, playing on the road, it doesn't, give the Rams everything that they require. Matthew Stafford he'll have a bounce back this week. I definitely foresee it. Geno back on the radar, still fighting for the playoff lives. Playing the Chicago Bears on Thursday Night Football this week. I told y'all this schedule is crazy, man. We got Christmas Day, we got Thursday, we got Saturday, back Sunday and Monday. Unbelievable how many games we're going to see all week long. So Geno on Thursday night against the Bears. Going to be in Chicago too, mind you. So it's going to be a little bit tougher for him on the road as well. He did have a very good contest this past week. I mean, over 25 points. Did not see that coming, but Geno definitely back on the radar at 51% for streaming quarterbacks. Drake May, like I said last week, definitely viable streaming option versus the Buffalo Bills. Will have another opportunity versus the LA Chargers on Saturday as well. 3 games on Saturday. Drake May is a dog, man. He's like a baby Josh Allen in the making. He is so good. If you guys don't watch his football at all this season, I mean, you've missed out on unbelievable progression in this man, how he has matured already, how he has grown. He was one of my best coming out of this draft class. Loved his game. I was a huge Drake May supporter, and I will not stop because he is that good. The footwork, in my opinion, was the best coming out of this class in the pocket, and he is showcasing that. You see that blitz pickup that he got on Gibson, and he made the beautiful throw falling off his back foot. This kid is ready, man. Drake May versus the LA Chargers definitely give you a good floor of about 16 points. Bryce Young taking on Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, the Bucs defense, this is a big game for the Bucs, so they're going to come after Bryce Young, but he did very well last week. They continue to improve as well. Bryce Young definitely on the radar for streaming quarterbacks this week as well in the finals. If that's what you've been doing and you made it, Bryce Young definitely is on the radar. And Aaron Rodgers down the board versus the Buffalo Bills had himself a stinker last week after performing very well the week prior. So, I mean, he still is on the radar, but he probably cost some of y'all this week if you did stream him. Wide receivers, Jalen McMillan, my dude. This guy is unreal. I told y'all as well, man, going back to the scouting reports, he could be one of the better. I don't want to say one of the best. He could be one of the better secondary wide receivers in this league, and he's finally starting to pick up steam and showcase that. We typically see developmental, wide receivers and running backs, rookies, they pick up steam around the last 6 weeks of the regular season, and now the Bucs realize what they got into McMillan. He is so good, very good route runner. The one interception he should have had, I mean, it was a 50-50 ball, and he lost it to the Dallas Cowboys defense, but he is good. He is learning, and he will continue. 79 points, only 50% owned versus the Carolina Panthers, 100%. He had 14 points last week. He 100% has a very good floor. Rashad Bateman continues his touchdown prowess. Okay, you got one out of 3 targets caught for a touchdown, got you, 7 points, some points. So, I mean, maybe 8 points if you're full PPR. So, I mean, 31% owned, taking on the Houston Texans on Christmas Day. I mean, again, flex appeal definitely is here where Lamar Jackson is spreading the football around at least to give Bateman a decent floor if you require it. The heavy upside is about 20 points because he can get targeted quite a bit deep, and he is making plays, answering that bell. You got to like Bateman. He's definitely on my board. Hollywood Brown, he's back, baby. I wanted to see one contest, and he looks good. He looks healthy. He looks fresh, and Patrick Mahomes found him for about 8 points this past week, so his role could increase as the weeks do go on, taking on the Steelers defense. Going to be a tough matchup, but at least Mahomes, he showcased the fact, I mean, he's faking his ankle injury. We're going to joke about it, but Hollywood definitely on the radar in this Chiefs offense because they will spread the football around, and Hollywood is definitely answering that bell. 34% owned for Hollywood. He could definitely be plugged and played this week in the fantasy finals. John Mechie, Robert Woods. I got Mechie above Robert Woods at this point. We saw what happened to Tank Dell. Prayers up to Tank. I mean, it's not great overall for this offense. They keep losing wide receivers. Hopefully Tank is better, a better diagnosis than what we fear because it did look really bad on the field. But John Mechie was also dealing with an injury of his own, so hopefully he is able to suit up. If he does suit up, I'm definitely taking him over a Robert Woods. Bobby Trees, but if Mechie sits as well, Robert Woods could definitely have a decent role next to a Nico to be a flex option for y'all. And a Devon Vele. Okay, this is a big game, man. Big 2 contest for the Denver Broncos taking on the Cincinnati Bengals this week. They're going to need all hands on deck, and it's got to be more than just a Sutton, man. We got to see a Bo Nix spread the football around, and Vele versus Cincinnati Bengals defense that can be gashed through the air. I do like me some Vele this week on the pickup and potential play for the Fantasy Football Championships. Finish it off with tight ends, man. Okonkwo, and why do I got him as my first tight end? because when games get out of hand, they just continuously check down. This guy had like 8 or 9 catches this past week, and at least with a Mason Rudolph, we know he can support these players through the air. We saw Calvin Ridley touchdown upside last week. Definitely hit the nail on the head. Okonkwo, though, I did not give him enough respect this past week with a Mason Rudolph, and if the game does get out of hand, the defense allows everything short underneath to be open, so that does open up doors for an Okonkwo to be a good quality starting tight end for the Fantasy Championship. Only 8% owned, taking on the Jaguars. Very good upside here for an Okonkwo. Floor is very low, but at least the upside is definitely there. Tyler Higbee, 3% owned. He's back, found his way into the end zone, and I mean, okay, very much tough to trust in Higbee in this offense, but at least he'll get his, 4 targets per game now with Matthew Stafford. Parkinson likely relegated to the bench for the remainder of the season with a Higbee back, taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Like I said, it's a decent play. It's a very risky play, more deeper leagues than 12-man and up leagues, but I don't hate Higbee this week, a pick up and play as well. Isaiah Likely found himself some opportunities. He is more of a, deeper league play for me at this point. Don't really trust it. Tight ends very much pick clean. I think we got Hunter Henry at like 56% right now as well, so I kind of left him off my board, and he has been somewhat hit and miss as well this season, but Likely's there taking on the Houston Texans, and a Smart versus the Denver Broncos, so there is opportunities here for potential points, but the floor has been around like 5 points for both these gentlemen, where Likely had above 10 last week, so there is potential in this man, as well as the Ravens did let go of a Deontay Johnson, wasn't doing anything, so it is basically Zay Flowers. It is Mark Andrews, Bateman, and Likely getting a lot of passes, and if a Justice Hill does sit, we could see a lot more Likely because Hill had a massive concussion. We could see a lot more Likely this week, where a Smart, his floor is pretty low, but at least there is potential for touchdown upside for a big tight end like him. So there you have it. That is week number 17. Waiver wire must-have players. Road to the championship, baby. I know, like I said, we got Monday Night Football still to conclude who's going to the finals. I ride with y'all, man. Hopefully Jacobs gets me into my 4th finals this season. Unbelievable year it has been. Appreciate everybody with the support. Let's get those dubs. I will have plenty of videos this week on Start Sit because the schedule is so messed up. So I'm going to try to get y'all prepared as much as possible. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.